afternoon to everyone. My name is Julius, as indicated. I am the CEO at the Institute of Internal Auditors in South Africa, and I'm here to just share with you some insights, I think, on internal audit. I wouldn't really put it as, we're not going to get too technical about internal audit. So maybe some of you are audit professionals, and when you heard the word internal audit, you thought, sure, we're going to have another lecture, but we're not going to get there. I'm going to just talk to you about the value of internal audit and how you can get the best out of your internal audit function. So before we go talk about internal audit, let's just think about how many of us would travel in a car without warning lights. So you wouldn't know if there was no petrol in your car. You wouldn't know if you don't have your seat belt on. I honestly don't like my car at this point, because if I forget my seat belt for 2 kilometers or even 2 meters, it starts complaining. So that's the luxuries we have now. So many of us wouldn't be in a car like that. And how many of us would be in a car where you indicate and you just hope the indicator lights are working outside of that car? Most of us wouldn't entertain a car like that. But many of us are actually running companies where there are no warning lights. We make decisions on a daily basis without understanding whether those decisions, what kind of impact they have on our business, but we wouldn't allow that to happen in our own personal life. So when we talk about internal audit, we are actually talking about the warning light system that exists within an organization. And it's very important that all of us, for our own safety, for the safety of our businesses and the customers that we service, that we have an internal audit function. Many of us would not leave our house without looking at ourselves in the mirror. But a lot of us make a lot of big business decisions that cost a lot of money without looking at the history of how our controls are in that space. So many of us, before we leave, after we make sure we've prepared ourselves well, we go and we consult this item called a mirror in our houses. And that item will give us feedback about how we look, whether we are dressed appropriately for the function that we are going to. And if we are not dressed appropriately, we go back and we change what needs to be changed. Same thing with the car. If we put on the car and then the seat belt light goes on, what do? We put on the seat belt before we drive. We don't just drive. So this is the value of internal audit for you in the organization. If you do not have an internal audit functions, I'm not sure how you are identifying all these red flags on a regular basis before you are making decisions in your business. So I'm going to talk to you a little about how to get the best out of your internal audit function. So let's start with the first item. Number one is you need to make sure that you actually have internal auditors in your house. We have a lot of businesses that think they have internal auditors, but they have individuals that work and ply their trade in the internal audit space. So internal auditing, becoming an internal auditor means you need to be a member of the Institute of Internal Auditors. You need to have certifications in internal audit. And secondly, does your internal audit have quality assurance and improvement program? How do you know that your internal auditors are doing internal audit the way it's intended to be done? They could be doing it like external audit, and therefore it means you are paying 2 service providers to do exactly the same thing. You are paying external auditors to do your external audit, but because you hired external auditors as your internal auditors, you are also getting another external audit camouflaged as an internal audit. So very important. Our internal audit committees, are they playing the right oversight role on internal audit? So you need to get your internal auditors, get a subject matter expert in internal audit represented on your audit committee. Professionalize your risk management so that you don't end up taking your internal audit and using them as risk managers, because risk management is a management function. It's not an assurance function. And then also do your best to protect the independence and objectivity of your internal audit function. This is very important because the quality of the instruments that give you warning signs is going to help you with the kind of feedback you get. If your mirror is cracked, you cannot use it to check if you are well dressed. So you need to make sure that you take care of the mirror so that it can give you the kind of feedback that you want to get. As the Institute of Internal Auditors in South Africa, once you've gotten them to become our members, we will ensure that we give you the stamp of approval so that you can know you've got the right internal auditors. We will maintain and enhance their professional competence and relevance. In that case, we've got webinars on an ongoing basis. We keep their continuing professional development for you. We will train them. and make sure that you've got the best internal auditors in the organization. We will connect them to other like-minded internal auditors so that when they are stuck, they have somebody else to talk to. So you don't have your internal auditor that only talks to themselves, and you're not getting the best out of your internal audit function. We act as the voice of the internal audit profession in South Africa, and most importantly, if you have an internal auditor that is our member, we protect your interest in that you can report them to us if they are not delivering the way you are supposed to. If you have an internal auditor that is not our member, if they do anything wrong, there is nothing we can do for you. You're going to have to deal with it yourself. But if that internal auditor is a member of the institute in South Africa, we have an entire disciplinary process that will take care of them and make sure that we deal with them for what they've done wrong in the organization, and also stop them from being appointed in other organizations and do exactly the same thing. So yeah, that is what we offer as the Institute of Internal Auditors in South Africa, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you at our stands and in other future activities as well. Thank you very much.